Bonaduce, life coach. Danny Bonaduce, life coach.
It is time to call me, your life coach, at 1-800-252-1025. And then we do happily take your emails at lifecoach@KZOK.com. Life Coach brought to you by Goldberg Jones Divorce for Men. Call 1-800-DIVORCE. Are we starting with an email today?
We will start with an email.
Starting with an email.
Remember, when you do call today at 800-252-1025, call yourself Steve, Becky, Billy, Bob, does not matter. Lie about your name if you need to, but make the phone call because Danny can help you. We've got an email from Marilyn in Seattle. Throughout my life, when my father passed away or if I moved, I didn't have any friends. My constant companion has been Chardonnay. Chardonnay watches movies with me. Chardonnay relaxes with me after a stressful day. Chardonnay gets me through lonely weekends with no one to hike with, no one to dance with, no one to road trip with. Don't get me wrong, it's just a glass on school nights and maybe a little more on weekends, but I still believe there's a man out there for me. I don't want to just hang out with Chardonnay. I'm a 50-something-year-old lady with a lot to offer. I'm attractive, intelligent, and humorous. How, life coach?
And humble.
Can I make a connection with a man?
Okay, first of all, I want you to calm down. I think this is lovely that you worry about your alcohol consumption when it's a glass on school nights and maybe a little more than that on the weekends. I mean, you could, if you really search for have a problem. But I will tell you this from my experience, you do not have a problem. People have become so scared of alcohol. Alcohol has been going on at least 5,000 years. And people are all in rehabs and things, and that's great if you need them. But a lot of people are so scared. I talk to my wife all the time. All the time she's checking, and I guess there's nothing wrong with it that she's checking her, but it seems silly. She's a teetotaler by anybody's estimation. She could drink anytime she wants. I think you're overthinking your Chardonnay problem. You don't have a problem with the Chardonnay. Now, what you are doing is you're not, and I'm getting this from your email. I got to get this from your email. You're not going out of the house to meet other people. You know, before, and this is what I would say, go to ourtime.com. That's a dating site for people over 50 years old, I believe, or maybe over 40 years old. So I would highly recommend that.
Over the farmer's one, definitely.
Over the farmer's one, for sure. But here's what you're not even thinking about. They serve Chardonnay in bars. Why aren't you having your evening glass of wine where they have other guys, where they have nice young gentlemen that you can meet, also of your age, of around 50, over 50 years old? I say do that. I say date somebody else. Go. Here's the one I recommend for older people, Our Time, that just seems so smart. Their commercials are so good, and there's women with, one woman has beautiful gray hair, like very nice gray hair, saying they're not looking for one of those women at 30 years old. So I highly recommend that, and that's my big takeaway. Go to ourtime.com, but don't worry too much about your glass of Chardonnay on school nights and one or two on the weekends. Have a little Chardonnay at a bar somewhere and go and meet with people, but you don't have a drinking problem, you have a social problem. Go outside, have a Chardonnay with some friends, make some friends, and try that website, ourtime.com.
I think there's also people who like wine who could get together.
Yeah, they're clubs all over the place. Join very nice, thank you, Sarah. Join a wine club, go on tasting tours, things that they have. You can combine with my Our Time thing that I'm recommending because they have websites for singles to go on wine tastings in the Napa Valley and stuff. You got boys everywhere, lady. You just got to calm down.
Well, I think sometimes about Gibbons, how when Gibbons first moved here, we all have lives and are busy and we're married and stuff, and he didn't have anyone to hang out with. You just went out and made friends.
He got him.
Go to happy hour, you see somebody with a friendly face, say hello. It's simple.
And I've seen him do it.
I've seen him do it.
And they're like,
And have you seen the result, the new girl?
I haven't met the new Becky yet.
Dude, you got to meet the new Becky. The new Becky rocks.
All right.
You can keep her.
All right.
Maybe we should go to the 5 Point and have some happy hour.
And have some Chardonnay.
Let's do that.
Or a Manny's.
Yeah, right.
If you've got a question for the life coach this morning, now is the time to call 800-252-1025. Any kind of problem, Danny can help you, whether it's finding a mate, finding help for an addiction, maybe you don't like your spouse anymore. Danny can help you.
Yeah, I can. I can help you on all of that stuff.
You can also email lifecoach@KZOK.com. Steve in Puyallup wrote, "The one thing I never thought would happen has happened.
No.
A stunning woman came out of a bad marriage and has made me feel good about myself. She makes me happy. She's a kindred spirit I never saw coming.
Uh-oh.
However, I'm married. I feel trapped in my marriage, but now there's someone else who I can't stop thinking about, and there's nothing I can do about it. I know I'm at a point where I'm going to have to do something.
You are.
But what should I be doing here? Focusing on my bad marriage or trying to put all it in all in for this new woman I just met.
Well, I cannot make this decision for. Oh wait, I'm a life coach. Of course I can. I would give it a limited time because I'm not one of those people that say, "Hey, you're married. There's nothing you can do." There is. You can get a divorce. I got one.
You got a couple.
I've had a handful of these divorce things. I know how they work. But here's the thing: getting a divorce for the new woman just fraught with peril, man. What I would do is I would separate those two right away. Do not get a divorce for this woman. Try and work it out with your wife. If you don't work it out with your wife and you get a divorce too soon and you pull that trigger, you will regret it for the rest of your life. Then, if and when you do get a divorce, don't jump into bed, so to speak, with the new woman that makes you feel so great. Nothing's that good, to be honest with you. You're in a terrible place, and she looks that good, and it all seems great. And if I was only with her, separate them. Do not go from your bedroom to her bedroom, as lovely as that sounds. And you can do it for recreation, but do not pull the trigger on getting married to the new girl. She's the one and only for you. Be single for a minute, because I'm guessing, and I bet I'm right, because I'm always right. You said this stuff about your wife when you first met her. You didn't say, you know what, this is a terrible woman, I'm going to marry her. You said, this woman's great. Everything she does is great. The sun shines out of all sorts of weird parts of her body that I never understood why that happened. That's what you said about your wife. Then this happened. I'm telling you, this can not only happen with the other woman, but she'll have the extra baggage of she broke up your marriage. Don't do it. If you can't fix your marriage, get a divorce. That's why they made lawyers. That's why you can call 1-800-DIVORCE. So if you do get a divorce, do not jump into it with this girl. You will resent her for a very long time. And if a year down the road it's still working out with you, then and 4 years down the road, then you can marry her and all of those things that you already said about this perfectly acceptable wife that you don't like anymore. I think that was good. Yeah.
This is Danny Bonaduce, life coach, and the next person through is Bob in Seattle.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Danny, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Question for you. I travel for work, and I don't necessarily know when I'm going to be traveling. You know, I've done up to 6 months out of the country, and sometimes it's just 5 days a week, out of town. But my friends, I'm 28, and my friends, people around my age, and I've also got some older colleagues. How do you date in terms of like not knowing if you're going to be in town long enough to most girls want to have a serious relationship and don't want to feel used. But at the same time, I can't just not date because I might be going out of town. I think
that you can date, and I think you can date a couple of different ways when you're going out of town. First of all, everybody knows somebody in the town you're going to, and you can make these needs to your friends. They say, listen, I'm going to Seattle, I'm going to Portland, and somebody's going to know somebody in Portland. But to be honest with you, I'm hesitant to pull this out of the bag of tricks again so early. But there are websites for all of this stuff, man. Don't tell anybody I said this, but this internet thing might catch on. I think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. There's these sites that I don't care for. They give a pretty ugly connotation of that Tinder care that Gibbons used to go to till he met the perfect woman.
Yep.
How would you, and I'm going to defer to you because I'm an older guy who's married, how can Bob make sure there's a girl that maybe would like to date him a couple times, because just because he's from out of town, that doesn't stop the fact that he might be perfect. How does he meet a woman in other towns?
If he wants to meet a woman in another town, just when you're out traveling, you can go to a bar. Just the easiest thing is just to go up to people with a friendly face, a handshake, a hello, and can I buy you a drink? And
now that by the way, is the advice I would have given him. How can he make sure there's a girl already waiting to meet him? Meet me at this bar in Cleveland.
Honestly, the best way to do that is an app like Tinder, because you can
That's what I meant. That's why I'm turning it over to you, maniac.
You set your location to Cleveland, and then you can put in your profile, hey, I'm in Cleveland for 6 days. I'm in Cleveland for a week. Anybody want to go get a drink? I'm in Cleveland for a night.
And what will happen?
And they will hit you up. You'll hit them up, and then you'll make the connection.
And these are real people, right? Those nice, fine girls.
Real, live, grown adults, real people who have real lives, and they'll love to get a drink.
Okay, I've been married for too long to have that information right on, but I have friends, and you got to use them. That's Gibbons right there. This Tinder thing, are there other sites, or is that the one you're recommending?
Tinder is pretty much the go-to.
Okay, and you'll get sex on that one too, won't you?
Allegedly, maybe, evidently, possibly, yes.
All right, I'm saving your life, Bob. Try Tinder and set up advances. If you're going to Cleveland, say, I'm going to be in Cleveland this night. I think the whole ministry, it's one of the good sides that makes being single sound like it would be fun. I missed all of that. I love you, honey. I'm not going to do it, but it just seems cool. So, yeah, go to Tinder and say, I travel. Here's where I'll be on this date. I'm like a rock star. Here's where I'll be on this date, but get ready to break out your wallet because the guy pays.
Yeah.
Well, and from the female perspective, if Bob wants to date people here in Seattle where he lives, just be honest and say, hey, I like you, but I travel a lot for work. Just so you know, just don't lie to him.
But a guy's got to get some sex in Cleveland, and I'm just trying to help a brother out.
That's what I'm saying. Don't lie.
Don't lie.
Hey, I travel. If you want to hook up here in Seattle, great.
My name's Bob. I'm going to go to Wyoming, and I need to meet some chicks when I get there.
And they'll be wearing cowboy boots.
Yes, they will.
Pam and Yellum, you're
the
on.
whole time.
Danny, want to do what she likes?
That's hot.
Pam, you're on.
Okay. I have a problem, and it involves my landlord.
Yeah.
She, we weren't able to pay November's rent, and so she's evicting us. The house has to be empty and clean by the 30th, and she's going to take possession of the place on December 3rd. It has to be empty and clean. My husband's in rehab, and he doesn't get out until the 5th.
What kind of rehab?
Alcohol.
Okay.
And I don't know what my legal options are.
Here's your legal option. Go absolutely nowhere and tell your landlord to shut up. She's got no rights whatsoever. Here's the thing with people and their leases and things like that. Once she hands over the keys, that is a civil matter. She's got to actually physically take you to court where you could fight this if you want to explain why you're not paying your rent. But she can't do anything. And I'll tell you this, and look into it when I let you go. Check the internet, ask a friend. If she changes the locks to keep you out, she's in huge trouble. And I would say there's ways to go to be so bad on this. I'm going to tell you as your friend, don't go anywhere and don't worry about it. Try and catch up to your bills. That's what you should do. Having said that, and that's my advice, Pam, I love you. Try and pay your rent, but right now, believe me, I promise you, I'm saying I'm evicting you is not the same as evicting you. She can't actually get you out of there. Now, some bad people might slip and fall on her property while waiting for the locks to be changed. And then that opens up a whole new kettle of worms, and everybody's got to start dancing around your time frame. And that's a real thing. It's a cheap and tawdry way to solve a problem, so I don't usually recommend it, but I don't like your landlord. So if you were to say, hey, landlord, you know what you should do? Hey, it's me, your landlord. Whoa, I slipped and fell on the way to the door to answer you, and now I broke my ankle. I'm never paying your rent. So you can do that. The other thing
legally, you're saying she doesn't actually have to get out.
No, you don't have to get out. You don't have to get out. And you can kind of hope she tries to change your locks because that's totally illegal. But honestly, I swear to God, and go on the internet because I take this very serious. But at the end of the day, if I'm giving you serious advice on your life, you might want to check and see if I'm right. Check the internet out and ask how many rights she has. And the answer is none. And if she changes the locks, she's in huge trouble. So the answer is do nothing and have fun at it. Thank you, Pam. You're not evicted. That's the point. I get so excited sometimes to start screaming. You're not evicted. You don't have to go. All right, that's all the time we have for Danny Bonaduce, Life Coach at the moment. Life Coach brought to you by Goldberg Jones Divorce Men. Call 1-800-DIVORCE.